It's Danielle Nadler, Executive Director of the Loudoun Education Foundation, and I am here with Sarah Ocampo, who is the Supervisor for English Learners, Family, and Community Engagement. Sarah, we're so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me, Danielle.
Yeah, definitely. Would you share, so Sarah and I have worked on several different projects, different grants, so it's so fun to have you on our podcast. Would you share a little bit about how you first learned about LEF? I think it was before even you in your current role, so I'd love to hear about that.
Absolutely. So I started my career here in Loudoun County Public Schools back in 2010, and I was a teacher assistant at the time, just trying to figure out where I wanted to take my career. I knew I had a passion for education and connecting with students and families. And so I applied to become a teacher. They had an initial teacher program for those that didn't traditionally go to school to become a teacher. And so I applied, I got accepted, and then I learned about a grant that you offer, the Claude Moore Scholarship. Actually, it's a scholarship.
Yes, yeah.
To support brand new teachers in the fields of English learners. And so that was my passion. And so I applied and I became an awardee of one of your scholarships.
Awesome.
And so I'm very grateful for your organization and all the support that you have given me and many educators like myself who, discovered that education was their passion and needed a little bit of support achieving their goals professionally, academically, and all the things.
Definitely. Wow, that's so exciting. I know I only learned this recently that you had been a scholarship recipient, and it's just so fun because how often in your role as well, a lot of times you work and do the thing and raise the money and send the check out, and you don't often hear about the end result or get to work with that person later in their career. So it's so fun. Thank you for sharing that. That really is exciting, especially as we're working now to push out, make sure everyone knows about our scholarships that open in January. So
Absolutely.
Really cool.
Yeah, I felt like the scholarship was instrumental in helping me achieve my academic goals and my professional goals. And I don't think I would be here without it. So I'm really, really grateful for that opportunity.
Yeah, that's so great. Thank you for sharing that. And then would you share a little bit about your role now?
Sure. So I am currently the supervisor of the English Learners Family and Community Engagement Office. As I mentioned earlier, my passion truly is with the English learner community. I'm an English learner myself. I consider myself a lifelong English learner. I was born and raised in Peru, and I came here when I was 14, but I still have a slight accent, and there's, a few times where I don't say things correctly because I'm thinking in Spanish. And so I love that I get to connect with our English learner population and connect at that level, at the level of English is not perfect and it will probably never be perfect. And even native speakers don't speak it perfectly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. We celebrate multilingualism. And we celebrate the fact that you're here. And so I currently oversee many programs that allow our English learner families to participate in their child's education. And one of them is PEP, the Parents as Educational Partners Program. And that's how we've been able to work together with the Loudoun Education Foundation. And it's been truly a rewarding experience to share this information with our families, but also help them feel like they belong. We want them in our schools. We want to share the information and we want to partner with them. And so I'm just grateful that I get to be in this seat to help facilitate conversations at the central office level and to also support our teachers at the school levels with this and many other programs that I oversee as well.
That's great. Well said. Thank you so much. And the LEF team first learned about PEP a few years ago. It was actually my first year as executive director, and I think it was the previous supervisor actually caught up with one of our team members and shared about PEP and just said, gosh, if we could just get a few $1,000s, we could help cover the cost of a warm meal so that when the families come for the evening sessions, the evening workshops, they're not having to worry about getting pizza or dinner or whatever it might be for the family. It's there for them, and then they can bring the whole family. And actually the first ask we made for that program, because it was when we heard about the need, it was really a short window that we needed to raise those funds, and it wasn't really grant writing season and all those things. So I'm really thankful to share it was 3 of our board members on our executive committee who like to remain anonymous, but they said, count us in. So just 3 individuals that first year covered that cost, which I'm so thankful for. And then since then, as the LEF team has learned more about PEP, parents, remember what it stands for again? Parents
as educational partners.
As educational partners, thank you. The more we learned about PEP, we applied for several grants. Really, Jack Kent Cooke Foundation has been the largest funder for supporting that, kind of those extras with PEP, but knowing that it's so important that there's a warm meal, some supplies, and then also often childcare, right, Sarah? So they can bring the whole family.
Yeah, so PEP was designed to be a curriculum-based program for our teachers to connect with families about the U.S. school system, school personnel, school procedures, the type of information that you wouldn't typically get because you were born in a different country. And so we train our staff, and then they are in charge of coordinating their programs, scheduling their programs, facilitating the meal portion, and perhaps childcare. And so the idea is that the PEP program is offered in the evening so that families can go to work and then actually bring their children in the evening. They don't have to worry about dinner. They don't have to worry about childcare, removing those barriers essentially. And so this grant really helped our schools with the funding, because as you know, funding is always tricky in our schools. And so our program pays for our instructors for their planning time and their time facilitating the program. But we use Title III grant funding for that, which comes from the state. But we couldn't afford to fund the food portion of it, even though we knew that it was essential. And so we exchange ideas with our instructors to apply for grants or source donations in the community. And so when your grant came about, it was incredible. The amount of positive feedback that we received from our school-based staff and the families themselves, and able to share some pictures with you, Danielle, with the meals that they were able to provide, from pizza to sometimes multi-ethnic foods that the families can relate to. So it's been amazing to be able to just come together as a community to learn and to solidify those crucial school-home partnerships.
That's awesome. And then would you share some of the topics that are covered at the PEP meetings? I always walk away having learned quite a bit as well. So it's really, if you would share a little bit about that.
Sure. So the original PEP curriculum had 8 units, which included the U.S. school system, school personnel, school health procedures. And these are the how-tos, or who's who at my school. It also talked about parent-teacher conferences, what to expect, how to be involved, how to participate appropriately. And then it talked about graduation requirements and many other topics. And since I've been in this role, I've been able to meet with my PEP instructors to revamp that curriculum, make it up to date. And now we have up to 10 units to include our special programs, such as Academies of Loudon, the International Baccalaureate and HAMSI programs. The idea is to promote these programs so that our English learner students can apply and can become involved and, just become successful with them. And so this past summer, we actually started developing a PEP 2.0 curriculum. And so we're going deeper into the who is my middle schooler. As you know, when the children go through the middle school ages, they go through many, many changes. And so we wanted to share with our EL families, this is normal. And it could be a variety of factors affecting their mood swings, and
definitely
facilitate those conversations with them. We also added a unit on financial literacy.
Wow.
An understanding that perhaps they might not have because they were born in a different country. And so I'm very excited for this curriculum development that we've accomplished in the past couple of years. And we continue to work on it. We continue to ask the families, what do you want to learn about? And they often tell us topics like bullying. All right, let's create a unit on bullying or cyberbullying. Or how to use technology appropriately and things like that. So we're constantly hearing from the community and trying to adapt accordingly.
That's really great. I definitely remember one that I attended. It's kind of a fly on the wall. They were talking about, or you all were talking about, kind of navigating social media for teens. And it's like, oh my word, who doesn't need advice there? So it's really, really good. And it seems like you often also bring in community partners, like I've seen Northern Virginia Family Services there, or Loudon Literacy Council, other nonprofit partners. Is the goal there to bridge the gap for those families, to let them know here are other resources in the community?
Absolutely. Many of our PEP instructors are family liaisons, and our family liaisons are so amazing at finding resources in the community. So we highly encourage all of our PEP instructors, regardless of their role, to reach out to the community to see what's out there and bring those community partners to their PEP sessions so that essentially it's a hit two birds with one stone, if that phrase is
Awesome. Yeah, I totally got it.
Incorrect. And so they bring HealthWorks, or as you said, Northern Virginia Family Services, or Loudon Hunger Relief, so that the families can come and learn about the PEP unit, but also connect with the community partners and see how, they can work with one
That's
another or
awesome.
use their resources. So.
Great. And what are you seeing kind of that? Well, first, if you would share kind of the stats, it's amazing how many families are involved and how many schools. Would you share that?
Absolutely. So when I first started, we were at 27 schools,
Okay.
and now we have grown to 34 schools. And
Wow.
PEP is a voluntary program. So our staff and our principals really step forward and say, I would like to bring PEP to my school. So once they take that
wow.
approach, then my team and I go in, we train the staff, and we provide them with the resources, the curriculum, and all these things that they need to implement the program. So we've grown so much in the past couple of years that I feel like our attendance has also skyrocketed. And so we've come up with a way to track attendance after every session. And we encourage our staff to keep track of the adults attending the session and the students.
Okay.
So the majority of our schools are at the elementary level. And if I remember correctly, we had about 3,000 families coming across the 20 plus elementary schools that are serving PEP at this time or offering PEP at this time. And then middle and high, we have the smaller numbers, but I would say overall, the grand number that I remember is about 5,000 families being served through the PEP program on a monthly basis. Most of our schools host PEP every month, some schools every other month, some schools quarterly. And it's really up to the needs of their families when they're scheduling these sessions. But we encourage the monthly touch points so that they build those relationships, they build trust of one another, and they exchange important information. So about 5,000 families every month, which is incredible.
Wow. That's amazing. We need to raise some more money, make sure, because it is growing, and we want to remove the barriers to get families there and to make them feel welcome. Would you share what do you think this does for students in their academics, having their families engaged?
So research shows that when families, schools, and the whole community come together, our students benefit. We always say that it's sort of like a successful rocket ship launch where you have all these various components and you have your mission control where everybody's working on different components of the rocket ship launch. And that's just family engagement. It's PEP, right? We have our teachers, we have our families, we have our community partners, we have Loudoun Education Foundation coming together to celebrate that successful launch in our students. And so if you think about it, when our students know that they're going to be held accountable by their family member, by their school-based staff, by their community, they have a greater tendency of showing up to school, so reducing chronic absenteeism. They have a higher likelihood of pursuing post-high school graduation plans, or perhaps a college, pathway if they decide to do that, or pursue other careers outside of high school. Our school-based staff also benefits because they feel that support from the families, from their administrators.
Yes.
So staff morale improves.
I could see that.
They feel that, the reason why they got into education is to make an impact. And PEP truly, truly does that. I'm not saying that because I'm biased, or perhaps I am biased, but every time I talk to my PEP instructors, they always remark on how much they feel the impact of the program in our families and then in our students as well. So informed families are empowered, right? They can advocate more for their students. They're more involved. It goes back to that accountability piece. I always say if my grandma is aware that I'm not showing up to school and she knows the process for connecting with the school, then I better show up.
Yeah,
definitely. To positive academic outcomes, positive socio-emotional outcomes as well, because our students feel happier that somebody cares. My family cares, my staff at school care, so I better do my best. So all around win-win for everybody.
So great. So true. And actually, my husband and I, we have our first parent-teacher conference today for our kindergartner. So we're new LCPS parents as well, kind of learning alongside a lot of others. And I, thankfully, different, I can speak the language. I grew up in the US, grew up in South Dakota, so everything's a little different on this coast. But all that to say, it is a little like, oh, are we doing it right? I've even asked the kindergarten teacher, hey, did I report that we'd be late yesterday? Did I do that correctly? Because we had a doctor's appointment. She's like, no, here's the right way, and she said it so kindly. And but yeah, like navigating, there's all these different apps, and just navigating a large school system is work. Let alone, I can't imagine doing it where the language is difficult to understand. So thank you for all you do and all your team does, and we're excited to continue to support anything that the individuals or Loudon-based companies can do to help support the work.
Yeah, I mean, I would say reach out to your local school to see if they're offering the PEP program, and see how you can best support, whether with time, with resources. Just showing up and talking to families about what you do might be helpful as well.
Okay.
And if you're able to contribute in any way, I'm sure our schools would be so appreciative of it. But just being able to connect with the families, I think it's the most important part of this whole thing. Right? Relationships matter. Trusting relationships matter, so that everybody feels like they play a crucial role in the success of our students, and also that sense of belonging, that sense of community. I think it's important. And so I think if our partners, our community partners, can make time to come visit a PEP session,
Great idea.
Delighted to just have you observe and see the interactions between the families and the instructors. And sometimes the students are involved too. At the secondary level, we're encouraging our instructors to involve the high school students in presenting these topics to their families.
Awesome.
See how that goes. But just very grateful for all the support that they provided so far. And again, to not hesitate to reach out to a school near you, or reach out to me, and I'll let you know if the school is offering that, and see how you can be involved.
Great. Thank you so much. We'll include your email address and when we post this. But yeah, thank you, Sarah, for taking the time and for all you do to truly bridge that gap and make sure families know how to get connected to their kids' education. That's huge. Thank you for everything.
It is my absolute pleasure. And thank you, Danielle, for advocating for us and our program, and being such a generous partner. So thank you so much.